Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to yet another exciting episode of Pariprashna. So, in today's episode, we are going to talk about chapter number 8, one of the most profound chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It is titled Akshara Brahma Yoga or Taraka Brahma Yoga. So, the central theme of this chapter, that is chapter number 8, is death, afterlife, and the soul's ultimate destination. I know you must be thinking, we are going to talk about death. Well, let's be honest. You, me, all of us, nobody is going to be spared. Eventually, sooner or later, we must all face this reality called death. So, we might as well prepare ourselves for this inevitable journey, how to face death with clarity and courage. And what better way to do it other than gleaning into the wisdom, the light from Srimad Bhagavad Gita? So, without further ado, please join me as we continue to inquire from His Grace Kamalochan Prabhu. So, Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, I especially like the term used by both Krishna in the last chapter, last verse, and the term that is used by Arjuna in the second shloka of chapter 8 to indicate death. That is Prayana Kala. So, both of them are using that same term, and what an elegant way to say Prayana Kala instead of Mrityu. So we will definitely get into what Arjuna is asking about death and what Krishna is going to answer. But before that, Prabhu, I just want you to burst some myths that is surrounding around the topic of death. So first and foremost, the general notion about death is that we want to avoid it at all cost. Not just the death, we don't want to think about it, we don't want to talk about it. Even by chance, if we even mention about death in a conversation, somebody will point out that, why are you talking about death? Talk about something that's auspicious. So it is almost like that bird's example who thought, at the sight of the hunter, it thought, let me just bury my head in the sand. If I don't see the hunter, somehow the hunter is not going to see me. That's what the bird thought. Similarly, we think that if I don't think about death, talk about death, if I just avoid death, somehow death is going to avoid me, which is not the case. So, why do you think, Prabhu, that we generally want to avoid the topic of death?
Because we don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you know about something, then you can make a decision whether you want it or you don't want it. Without knowing about something, you just try to say, I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
That is a problem. If you know death is inevitable, number one, and if you know that death is inevitable, then you'll prepare for it. Like a good student would prepare for the examination. So when a good student is there, he knows the examination, what it means. Then he'll prepare for the examination. So it all depends on how good you are as a human. How intelligent are you as a human? As an intelligent student would not like to avoid examination. He would like to prepare for the examination, understanding well that it cannot be avoided, and it is good for me because this examination is going to prove me that I'm qualified for the higher studies, the next standard or the next education system.
Mm-hmm.
So, good students, intelligent students, they like the examination. They are not afraid of the examination. They talk about the examination. They prepare for the examination. So, if you are an intelligent human, you would like to see that death is an examination, which is number one, inevitable, even if you want to avoid, it's going to come. Number two is since it is inevitable, you have to prepare for it. And why are you going to prepare for it? So that proves, that gives, it's an opportunity. Our examination is an opportunity to prove yourself. That is how brave people, they take the examination called death as an opportunity for advancement, to prove themselves that yes, I am qualified for a higher situation.
Beautiful. So, along the similar line, the another general common notion for most people is that we are scared of death. So, fear. So, fear of our own death and fear of losing our near and dear ones, both. But however, although we feel scared of death, in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are umpteen examples of so many glorious devotees who faced death fearlessly. For example, Maharaj Parikshit, there is this beautiful image, which is one of my favorites, where 7 days of Bhagavata Katha has happened. Shukadeva Goswami did not wait to witness him leaving, so he has left. And there is Parikshit Maharaj. He's sitting there. The snake bird has already come and bit him. There is this fire. And all these people around him are panicking. But however, if we clearly observe the face of Maharaj Parikshit, he is absolutely fearless in the face of death. He is ready to go. And there is Vritrasura, who is encouraging his enemy Indra, saying that why are you not picking up Vajrayudha? Don't you know? Vishnu has given you the promise that you will succeed in killing me. Come on, lift the weapon and hurl it at me. So he is in fact inviting death. He wants to go. He's looking forward to this glorious destination where he's going. And Maharaj Dhruva, where he's stepping on the back of death personified to get into the spiritual plane. So, like this, we can go on and on. So we have these amazing devotees who are facing death with such fear, with such courage and fearlessness. But whereas we are so scared of death. So in addition to what you already just said, Prabhu, what is the cause of our fear and what is the cause of these devotees' fearlessness?
Again, boils down to intelligence. As I told in the previous question, answer to the previous question, that is understanding what is death. A person who has a proper understanding of death, he is not fearful of death, but he is careful of death. Careful. So there is a lot of difference between being careful and being fearful. If a student is fearful about the examination, even though he is qualified and capable of passing the examination, he'll fail in the examination. But a student who is not so qualified, but he's careful about it, he'll still pass the examination. So Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, actually talks about being careful. So when you are careful about the examination called death, then you will prepare for it very meticulously. When you prepare for it meticulously, then you come to the point where you face the examination fearlessly, not only fearlessly, but joyfully you will do that. So these are the two levels where Krishna, he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Jaramarna mokshaya mamashritya tante. See, at least for the sake of getting rid of death, birth, death, old age, and disease, come and take my shelter. Though taking shelter of Krishna is the natural propensity of the jiva that we are supposed to do, but still Krishna says, forget about you loving me, I loving you. But at least for the sake of getting rid of the fear of death, you come to me, you take my shelter. Like it is very natural for a good son or a daughter to be obedient to the parents. Now, sometimes it so happens, or many times it happens, that the children, they are not obedient to the parents. The parents go to such an extent, beta, at least for the sake of having good food, and at least for having a good place to stay with us, be with us. You may not be very respectful to us, at least for the sake of that, you be with us. So at least for the sake of getting rid of the horrible situations in this world when you are staying outside here and there, leaving us, at least be with us for the sake of shelter, at least be with us for the sake of food. So that is what Krishna says. Actually, we are supposed to hear Krishna's words and love him. But if you are not doing that, at least for the sake of getting rid of death and fear of death, take shelter of me. That is what Krishna says. Now, Parikshit, he also approached Bhagavatam or Sukadeva Goswami with a fear of death. In the sense that I am going to die. Mriyamanaya, he uses the word Mriyamanaya. I am now about to die within just the span of 1 week. Now tell me, what is my kartavya? Then Sukadeva Goswami answers this question by saying that Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Harihi Shrotavyaha Kirtavyastya Shrotavya Taichate Abhayam. If you really want fearlessness, what you should do, you should hear, you should chant the glories of Krishna, and you should think of the glories of Krishna. Ichchate abhayam, if you want fearlessness. That is how it started. Now, what happened? This is how it starts the first and second canto, at the end of first canto, at the beginning of the second canto. Now, after hearing the Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj was so engrossed in Srimad Bhagavatam that he just says, I am not bothered whether the Takshaka, snake bird, is going to come or doesn't come. I'm not bothered. I am totally engrossed in hearing about Krishna. So this is how there are two steps, that is being very careful about being cautious about death, to a situation where you are not, you're carefree about it. So from carefulness to being carefree about it. So this is a journey that is called spiritual journey. The spiritual journey means it starts with being careful about it, being cautious about it, and being careful and cautious about that. That is called sadhana, sadhana bhakti, and ends in a situation where you're carefree about it.
Wow, wonderful, Prabhu. Very nice. So, Prabhu, the third myth that I want you to burst about death is that people mostly think death is inauspicious. Is death really inauspicious?
See, auspiciousness and inauspiciousness is depending on your consciousness. So when you are prepared for the examination, I'm just trying to bring the answers based on this one point, that is, death is an examination. If that is very clear in everybody's mind, now everything falls in its place. Death is an examination. So that is why I'm comparing death with the examination scenario. For a student who is well prepared for the examination is auspicious. For a student who is not well prepared for the examination, it is inauspicious. Now, the examination itself is not auspicious or inauspicious.
Right.
It depends on you. If you want the death to be auspicious, then you be well prepared for it. If you want the death to be inauspicious for you, don't be prepared for it. In other words, for those who are not prepared for death, or don't know what is death, they think that this examination is inauspicious. Whereas those who actually are conscious about it, and they know about it, and they're prepared for it, that is very auspicious. I'll give another example of a scenario which recently I not experienced, rather I came across one person. So one person who was very much aggrieved because of some very grave disease. He was going to one doctor to other doctor, and spending lakhs and lakhs of rupees on his treatment. So he was very fearful what's happening, and the whole family was very much disturbed. So somehow they came to me, and they wanted my advice. Then I told that person, you see, now you have a terminal disease, which none of the doctors are explicitly telling you. So better be happy. As long as you're going to live a quality life, be happy. Chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and you have done a lot of good things in your life. You have made your life. You have made a nice bungalow. You have made your daughters got your daughters married to very good family. I asked him some questions. Do you have anything to do else in your life? He told, I'm very satisfied, he told. Then, after the talk with me, the whole family, they went back. And then the wife called me and told, thank you very much. My husband is very happy now. He's very happy now. And he knows, because he knows now I have to leave the body, and he's chanting, and he's reading Bhagavad Gita, and he's living a very quality life. He's happy about it. And we don't want to go to any other doctor anymore. We are troubled for the 5 years. We are just going from one place to other place, one doctor to other place, spending so much money. So now he is waiting for it. He is waiting for it. And the same death which was inauspicious, the moment he came to know the reality about death, it is going to happen. Number two, we had to be prepared for it. The moment he came to know about the reality about death, the same death became very auspicious. He's waiting for it. He daily asks, it seems, to his wife, see, I just want to leave as soon as possible. Uh,
Oh.
he says that.
Mm.
The same person or the same family which spends lakhs and lakhs of rupees to avoid something which is inevitable, and
Right.
they're into so much of anxiety, they are waiting for it now.
Mm.
That is called knowledge. That
Mm.
is how the knowledge of death actually makes the death auspicious for you.
Mm. Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing that. So, Prabhu, right in the beginning, your very first line in answering the first question of this episode was, people don't know about death. So, please help us understand about death. So, our basic understanding, like Krishna and Arjuna used the word prayana kala, the time of travel. So, this bursts the myth that death is not an end, it is a transition. There is something after death also. That is why they are saying it's prayana kala. So, who is traveling? The soul is traveling. And what has the soul left at the time of death? Gross body, because we can see the dead body is lying right there. So the soul, Prayana Kala, at the time of death, gross body is here. But what other things happen other than leaving the gross body? Where is this soul? Like, what is it taking with it? Where is it going? What's going on?
So prayana means to go from one place to another place. That is called prayana.
Yes.
Hmm? So now the soul leaves this body and goes to another body. That is called prayana. Now what does it take along with it?
Mm.
It just takes the karma. What all you have done in this life, that is what is being taken by the soul to the next life. Or next, I would not say next life, next body.
Okay.
That's all. What all you have done in this life. That is why it is very important to concentrate on what we are doing in this life today.
Mm.
What we do today, that we are going to experience tomorrow.
Mm.
So, if we are practicing spiritual life very seriously in this life,
Mhm.
then we go to the next life, to the spiritual world.
Mhm.
As simple as that, where we don't have to experience death anymore.
Mm.
And because that is eternal life, where Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yad gatva nanivartante tad dhama paramamama. Once you go to the spiritual world, you will not come back to this world again. So that is the goal of life. So what we are going to do in this life defines what we are going to take to the next life.
Okay.
As simple as that. Now, in any these days in examinations in engineering, there are carry forward marks.
Yes.
Suppose example, you got certain percentile in the first year, certain percentage is carried over to the second year, from second year to third year, from there to the fourth year. We had something like that in our a system of examination is there like that,
Mm.
where there is a carry forward. So what all you have done, that is carried forward to the next life and to the next life. And now, if you have done something which qualifies you to go to the spiritual world, then that is the best thing one can do.
Mm.
So that is what Krishna says in the 8th chapter, that you think of me or you practice spiritual life so that you can think of me at the time of death, and that qualifies you to come to me, to my abode, where you can experience eternal life and blissful life.
Okay. Okay. Prabhu, so you said the soul carries forward the karma to the next body, but right in the beginning, you had educated us that there is gross body, there is subtle body, there is the soul, there is the super soul, there is consciousness. Now, what happened to this subtle body?
So, when the soul leaves the gross body, it is understood that the subtle body also goes along with the soul.
Okay.
That means what all you have seen in this life, what all you have heard in this life, or in the duration of our life, that is there as an imprint in the subtle body. And it goes to when we go to the next body, the same thing comes out. That is called sanskar.
Mm.
Like two children, they are born at the same time. One is very disciplined, very peaceful, very obedient, and very intelligent. And other child is very naughty and very indisciplined and always frustrated, always in anxiety. Why? What is the reason for it? The simple reason is one child had good sanskars in a previous life,
Mhm.
and other child did not have good sanskars. Sanskars means very simple. Through our knowledge gaining senses, eyes, the nose, the ears, and the tongue, and the skin, we are getting some knowledge or imprints. Like, for example, if you're just seeing something which is violent in nature, then what happens? Your mind in the subtle body, these violent imprints are there. That is called sanskar. So, in the next birth, when you come, then you bring those imprints. Like when you go to a picnic somewhere for a holiday, then you take a camera and then you take photographs, and all the photographs are stored in the memory chip, memory card. So you come home, you take the memory card and put it in your laptop, and the same pictures are seen in a bigger way in your laptop screen. So the machine has changed from camera to laptop, but the memory card is the same. In the same way, the body has changed from one body to another body. In the next life, we get another body. But the subtle body, which is like the memory card, is the same. The same imprints will manifest in the second, in the next body.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's stick to this for one more question, Prabhu. So, Krishna has already told us in chapter 2, right in the beginning, that there is no death for the soul. It is indestructible. Nothing can destroy it. And what we are calling death is death only for the gross body. So, no death for the soul. Gross body has died. When will the subtle body die?
The subtle body, it gets dissolved in Viraja, the time when we go back home, back to Godhead. Subtle body continues along with the soul as long as we are in this material world. So subtle body dies, rather using the word subtle body die, we say dissolves
Dissolve.
only when we are going back home, back to God, to the spiritual world. Till that time, the subtle body is will engage the soul and keep this in the material world constantly. So that is why when the subtle body is filled with thoughts of Krishna, when the soul becomes qualified to go back home, back to God, to the spiritual world, that is the time body, that which is known as subtle body, it melts in the Viraja river and we go to Vaikuntha.
Okay, okay. So, Prabhu, for the destruction of the gross body, there is pretty much nothing we have to do. Over a period of time, time will take its effect and the gross body will die anyway. So, is it fair to say that it takes conscious effort to dissolve the subtle body?
Automatically it happens. It happens automatically. When you go to the spiritual world, the destruction of the subtle body, the dissolvement of the subtle body happens by default. Now, based on this, I'd like to say something because these are all theological things. Let us see the practical thing.
Okay.
Somebody may say, why you want to go back home, back to Godhead? Why you want to dissolve this subtle body? Somebody may ask this question. Actually, this is a desire of every soul. This is a desire of everyone, but they don't know how to fulfill that desire. Why a person wants to take alcohol, tell me?
To escape reality.
Well, where is that perception of reality? It is in the mind. You can sleep, but they want to dissolve the subtle body. That means they just want to go become unconscious. They want to dissolve the subtle body, but they don't know how to do that. They take shelter of some intoxication. Why anybody would like to go to a movie? Because they want to dissolve their subtle body and get into somebody else's subtle body who is dancing and who is in a movie. So the desire for dissolving the subtle body is there in everyone, but they don't know the method. The method is to engross your mind, your subtle body in Krishna consciousness. When you are intoxicated in Krishna consciousness, then the subtle body dissolves permanently. When you are intoxicated with wine or some other intoxicants in this world, then it's only for temporary purpose. That is why Srila Prabhupada, when he was doing kirtans in America, he had this slogan called "Stay High Forever." Right. Because they were all getting intoxicated. So they want to intoxicate and they want to dissolve the subtle body. People say, I want to get lost in something. That means what? They want to dissolve the subtle body.
Right.
That's there.
Okay. Okay. So, Prabhu, now let's get into some shlokas straight from Lord Krishna's lotus mouth. So, Arjuna is asking a bunch of questions. He starts off with like 8 different things he wants to know. And we will not get into all of it. We'll just focus on the eighth question. Prayanakale cha katham neyosi niyatatmabihi. So, Arjuna is asking, how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? And for that, Krishna is saying here in the fifth verse of chapter number 8, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. So I'll read the translation. And whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. And Prabhu, I'll just chant the next shloka and I'll bring it in context. Shloka number 6. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitah. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. So, Prabhu, let's go back to the example that you gave. A student who is preparing for examination. So, we are all students in the University of Life and we are supposed to prepare for the examination called death. So now for the student, they know when they will pass the exam, what is failure in exam. So let's say basic getting 35% is limit passing the exam. And anything other than less than 35% is failure. So is it accurate to say passing the examination of death means what Krishna is saying in fifth shloka? Think of me alone, mam eva, and you will attain my nature. So this is success. Anything other than this, what he's saying in verse number 6, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, whatever you think, that is what you will become in your next life. So, other than Krishna, if we think of anything at the time of death, is that a failure because we are still stuck in the cycle of birth and death?
Yeah, definitely. As per Krishna, these two verses, it is like that. But at the same time, Krishna is a person.
Mhm.
And he himself, as Varadaraja, who is there in Kanchipuram, he says something very interesting.
Okay.
When Ramanujacharya, he asked Yamunacharya, whom he accepted as a spiritual master, that since you are not giving initiation to me, and neither I am not able to find anyone who can give Diksha, I don't know. I have certain questions in my mind.
Mm.
Please ask Varadaraja the answers for these questions.
Mm.
Ramanujacharya did not tell what those questions were. So Kanchipurna, he went to Varadaraja and he was fanning him. Chamara Seva is doing Ekanta Seva. And he asked Varadaraj because he had that capacity or he was so intimate to Lord Varadaraj that he could speak to him. He speak to the deity. Ramanujacharya has certain questions in his mind. He wants answers for this. He did not say, I don't know what questions are and all. Then Haru 6 words or sentences are spoken by Varadaraja and told Varadaraja told Kanchipurna to go and tell Ramanuja, Kanchipurna, what were the sentences? In that, one other thing was Antakala Smaravarjanam. So a devotee need not think of me at the time of death.
Oh.
Which is exactly opposite to what Krishna said. Same
Right.
Krishna is telling is Varadaraj. So that has to be taken into consideration because even in the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I personally come and deliver the devotee who is drowning the ocean of material existence. That I personally come and then deliver him. So when somebody is thinking of Krishna whole life and he is serving Krishna devotedly, then Krishna says, for some reason or so, if he is not able to think of me at the time of death, I will think of him. I will think of him. So this examination is not just at the time of death. You think of Krishna, not think of Krishna. This examination is at every second. So every second, what you are doing for Krishna, that is noted by Krishna. So when he sees that you have done enough in this life, when he is pleased, that is the difference between the examination of the material world, what you face in this world, and examination of Krishna. So where Krishna's grace has a role to play, because the jiva himself has no capacity to deliver himself.
Wow.
So Krishna, he showers his grace to deliver the devotee. So that is why just focus on practicing pure devotional service throughout life. When you practice pure devotional service throughout life, Krishna being pleased by your pure devotional service, even though at the time of death, because of circumstances, yadi kapha vatadi doshena madbhakta yadi mam nasmaret, if my devotee doesn't think of me, aham smarami madbhaktaha, I think of him, nayami paramam gatim, I will take this devotee back home. This is spoken by Varahadev to Lakshmi in Varaha Purana. So where he says that aham smarami madbhaktaha, I will think of my devotee. Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagara. But this verse is specifically spoken to say that the purpose of our life is to think of Krishna at the time of death. And for that, you just cannot say, I'll wait for the examination to think of, to pass the examination. You have to be prepared. You have to prepare throughout your life. So now, if you are prepared throughout your life, and somehow you are not able to do well in the examination, the examiner will fail you, because there is no mercy in the examiner's mind. But here it is a very interesting thing. So if you are very prepared well throughout the life, you are prepared for the examination, even in the failed examination, you will pass the examination. Because what you have done in the examination is not the only criteria, but what you have done throughout your life, that becomes the criteria. So for the person who is practicing spiritual life, practically he is giving examination every day. It is an examination for him every day. So he is not bothered about the examination called death, because he is giving examination every day.
Brilliant, Prabhu. So when Varadaraja Swami is telling Kanchipurna, tell him not to think of me, one of the Vakyas, so that means he's telling, even if he doesn't think, I will anyway out of my mercy take him. Is that what he means? Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Prabhu, the next sixth shloka, when Krishna is telling anything other than me, whatever is your state of mind, your state of consciousness, whatever state of being one remembers, when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fear. So if somebody thinks of some individual, so let's say husband is attached to wife, wife is attached to husband, or they're attached to children, or somebody they are attached to somebody who they hate. So any person, if we think, what is the future destination of that soul?
It is not just as simple as that. The husband thinks of wife, or wife thinks of husband. There are so many other things also involved. In what way the husband is thinking of the wife, and who is that wife? If the husband is thinking of the wife, that what is going to happen to her if I leave, then he will come back again as a protector or something like that. Or if he's thinking that, oh, my wife is a great devotee, let her chant the names of Krishna when I leave the body, then it's fine, no problem. So it is not very mechanistic. Spiritual subject matters should not be seen in a mechanistic point of view. It is subject matter of spirituality is consciousness. So there are multidimensional aspects towards that. So think means here the state of consciousness. Think means the state of consciousness. Antakalecha mamevasparam. What is the state of consciousness? Like somebody may think of Krishna, but they don't know who is Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
They may think of Krishna being a ordinary person.
Mm.
That doesn't make them go back home, back to Godhead. So somebody may think of someone, how is he going to become a devotee of Krishna? So ultimately he's thinking of Krishna. He may be thinking of one person. So this is very complicated. I should not use the word complicated. It has got many dimensions to it.
Okay, got it. So same thing applies even if somebody is thinking about a thing. Let's say they're very attached to the home or they're attached to the wealth and they're scared that they're leaving everything and going. Or they may have unfulfilled desires, or they may think of some demigod who were there worshipping. So like you're saying, the dynamics is quite, yeah. So what happens if it is an unnatural death? So like deliberately somebody is killing themselves.
This is called suicide, deliberately killing oneself. That is not very much prescribed in the scriptures. That is not the way to attain liberation. Death in itself is no liberation. Neither one has to wait for death to be liberated. So this is where people think that I got miseries, I'm so suffering so much, so if I die, the miseries end. They think death is the end of miseries. No, death is not the end of miseries. Death is not moksha. People think mrityu is moksha, number one. Sometimes people think that I have to die to become liberated or to attain moksha. No, one can be liberated even while living. So try to achieve that state. So then death becomes insignificant for a person who is liberated. That is another aspect of another time, another aspect of life. That's all. So try to be liberated while living. That is called spiritual life. Spiritual life means that you are liberated while living. That means you are not affected by any miseries of this world, even when you are living. When you are living. Now, coming back to your question about what is the destination of those people who try to commit suicide?
Right.
The destination is more horrible. In most of the cases, their karma is supposed to be that they are supposed to be in this body for, say, 70 years. And now they have committed a suicide at the age of 35 or 40. Now, the rest of the 30, 35 years, they'll be not getting a gross body. They'll be hovering out like a preta. They'll be like a preta. They will not get the gross body till that time. Not all cases, but many cases it happens.
Okay.
So now in that condition, their suffering is too much that they cannot even drink water because they don't have a gross body, but still the thirst is there. They're hungry, but they don't have anything to eat because they don't have a gross body. So that is a more horrible condition. So that is why suicide is a crime unto oneself. You're inflicting crime onto yourself. It is unnatural. So try to attain liberation while living. That is called Jivan Mukta. The process of getting rid of miseries is spiritual life, not ending life. Like you have a vehicle which is not functioning properly. So what is the remedy for it? To repair that vehicle. Not that you abandon that vehicle. You try to learn how to drive the vehicle. The same as this body has been given to us so that you keep the body fit and then drive the body to the proper destination. So when you don't use this body for a particular purpose and you don't know how to use this body, then you try to give up the body, blaming, no, this body is useless. No, this body is not useless. Especially the human body, which is a greatest gift which has been given to you, so that you can attain the destination that is Krishna's abode. Now, if you are having some problems in your life, it is not because you have this body. The problem is because you don't know how to use this body. If I give you a computer and you're not able to use the computer properly, you think it's the problem is the computer. The problem is not with the computer. The problem is not with the body. The problem is not with your mind, intelligence, etc. The problem is that you don't know how to use it to attain the goal. This body, human body, is actually the body of for sadhana, for practice to attain the supreme goal. When you don't use it, or when you misuse it, or overuse it, then you land up into so much of suffering that you see the suffering is because of the body. The suffering is not because of the body. The suffering is because of you having no knowledge about how to use this body. So when you get the knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita on how to use this body, what should I do with this body, then the same body becomes the source of your divine blissful accomplishment.
Very nice, Prabhu. So I just want to give a shout out to all the audience. So I know life can be very, very hard at times. So like Prabhu said, when life gets very difficult, ending life is not the solution, but taking up spiritual life is the solution. So Prabhupada has opened so many spiritual centers in the name of ISKCON, every city, every country, everywhere. So kindly reach out to the devotees and they will be more than happy to help you. So, Prabhu, continuing on this, so ghost is a reality. So, ghost haunting somebody, like they say, somebody, the ghost has entered, is that also a reality? Being haunted?
That can be a reality, but not every situation is of such should be pursued like that.
Okay.
So definitely there is, because those subtle entities, they're always looking for some cross body where through which they can accomplish their desires or whatever it may be. So, but that cannot be taken in such a way that anybody who is not behaving properly or and generalize it, oh, he's haunted. Yeah, there are certain haunted cases,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean you can just attribute this phenomena to
Right.
anybody and everybody without having proper knowledge about it.
Okay. Okay. So, Prabhu, you said it is the state of consciousness at the time of death, and Krishna is saying that. So, what affects the state of consciousness? Like, for example, Bharat Maharaj, he was such an elevated soul. He had already gone up to Bhava stage. And because of the attachment to that one deer that he had to take two more births. Now, God knows how many attachments we are all carrying within our hearts, how many unfulfilled desires we have. So, what are the different factors that affects our consciousness, especially at the time of death?
Whenever some examples are given Srimad Bhagavatam, they are always extreme examples
Right.
to drill a particular point into our consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Once somebody reaches the stage of bhava, then there is no question of he coming down to the material platform. But Bharat Maharaj's case is an exclusive case which has been presented in Bhagavatam to show that don't be so proud of your accomplishment in advancement of devotional service to such an extent that you become so proud that you give up the association of devotees.
Mm-hmm.
Bharat Maharaj gave up the association of devotees. That case cannot be exemplified for everyone. Okay, just even Bharata had this thing. No, that is an offense. Krishna showed through this pastime using Bharata to caution us that in any stage of life, don't give up association of devotees. Don't give up sadhu sangha.
Okay.
Always be with devotees, because bhakti can be practiced safely in the association of devotees. So Bharata, though he became a deer next life, but the deer was very special. The deer was always roaming around in the rishis' ashrams, hearing Krishna Katha, being near the sacrifices, etc. The same deer next life became Jada Bharat, who revealed great Krishna conscious philosophy to Rahugana.
Yes.
So this is only to caution us about don't give up association devotees just because you're very advanced. That is the purpose of it. That's all.
Okay. So what are the factors, Prabhu, that affects our consciousness at the time of death so we can be cautious?
Not only at the time of death, throughout our life, there are many factors which affect our consciousness. So those factors which affect our consciousness, I'm saying that Krishna consciousness, affect our Krishna consciousness, the biggest factor or the foremost factor which affects our Krishna consciousness is asat sangha. Asat sangha means bad association, in simple words. In the same way, what is the factor which affects our consciousness to become Krishna conscious? Sadhu sangha. The association. You are what your friend is. That's simple. Whomever you associate with, you will get the qualities of that person by nature. It is by default. When I joined my engineering college, there were a batch of 130 in the first year. Among them, only about 20 or 25 were drunkards and smokers. But by the end of the year, we are only 20, 25 who are not smoking, not drinking.
Gosh.
What made them? There was one boy who was coming from a simple background, and he was not knowing what is smoking, what is even what is illicit sex. Nothing, was not knowing anything. But by the end of this 4 years of college, he was a drug addict. Where did he get it from? Because of that association. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. As is your friend, so you are. That is why in traditional houses, the parents are very careful when the children they go out to play. They say whom you are going to play with. They're very careful, not that this my boy or my daughter should not have bad association. So it is by default that we are influenced by people, by the people whom we associate with. So if you have satsanga, then you'll be your consciousness becomes Krishna conscious. You become Krishna conscious. When you asatsanga, then there is you deviate from Krishna consciousness. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, asatsanga tyaga yei vaishnava achar. To give up that association. Of course, there are other factors also. In the Bhagavatam, there is a list of 9 factors. Most important is sangha, and the books what you read, the food what you eat, the place you are staying, and the water you are drinking. All these factors come into place. But the most important is, if you ask me from the personal point of view, most important are 3. Number 1 is association. Number 2 is the food what you eat. Number 3, the books what you read. So if you associate with devotees, then your consciousness or you'll become Krishna conscious. If you associate with those who are not devotees, of course there are many categories of non-devotees.
Right.
We don't want to delve into that aspect of it. Then you'll lose your Krishna consciousness. If you are eating only prasadam, sattvic food which is offered to Krishna, then jaisa anna vaisa man. As is your food, so is your mind. Annamayami somya manaha. As is your food, as is your anna, so is your food. And if you are eating something which is not offered to Krishna, then naturally you lose Krishna consciousness. Your consciousness will be impacted. And if you are reading Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, then that becomes a food for thought. Books are the food for thought. If you're reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, then Krishna consciousness, your mind will be Krishna consciousness. If you're reading anything else, then your mind will be corrupted. Simple.
Okay. So it's very interesting after Krishna telling Arjuna that if somebody thinks of me alone, they come to me, and anything else they think, they will become that. Then we would imagine perhaps Krishna will tell Arjuna, okay, you can go sit in one place peacefully and take my name. So anytime death comes, you're ready to go. But however, here in 7th shloka, he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhya cha mayi arpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasya samshayah. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So this is super interesting because people think spiritual life means subtraction. We have to take out things. But here Krishna is telling, no, your duty was to fight, you fight. But how to fight? Mam anusmara yudhyacha. You think of me and fight. So it is more of an addition. So what we are doing, add Krishna to it. So try to think of me all the time. By remembering me, you fight. Is this really practical, Prabhu, that we can think of Krishna, parent the child, we can think of Krishna, write an email, we can think of Krishna, run the meeting, we can think of Krishna, go to the market?
Definitely. It is the most practical thing because whenever we do something, we do that thing for someone.
Mm,
When the mother is cooking, whom is she cooking for? She's thinking of her husband or the child and then cooking, isn't it? Whatever the child likes. For example, some guests are coming to the house, whom they know very well. So she's cooking for the guests. So though she's cooking, but thinking of whom? The guests who are coming.
mm,
Hmm. The same way in a company, somebody is running a meeting. What is he thinking of? I run the meeting such a way that my boss is pleased.
mhm,
So you always do something for someone.
mm.
Like you are alone at home, and what will you cook for yourself?
Very simple, khichdi mein.
Khichdi, some rice, okay, some biscuits, etc.
Mm,
So naturally, when somebody comes to your house, then you think of someone. This is by default in this world that when we do something, we do that thing for someone. You think of someone and then do it.
mm,
Like in some companies, one manager, he's, people don't like him, so they don't work very nicely. They just come and do some work.
mm,
As soon as their manager is replaced with another manager who is very loving, very inspiring, then what they do? They work more. The
mm,
same team, the same thing. So, working for someone is by default in this world. It is there
mm,
any corner of the world. Working for someone.
mm,
So now, when you work for someone, you think of that person. So this is what Krishna says: "Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mamanuspara yuddhacha."
mm,
That means you think of me, and work means you work for me. You fight for me.
mm,
So it was the duty of, it is not just a duty of Arjuna, but it
mhm,
is the duty performed for Krishna.
mm,
That is what is the 8th chapter all about. That is, Krishna is inspiring Arjuna that you do work for me.
mm,
So when you are, take for example, studying, a student has to study something, he's studying. So he can study for Krishna,
mm,
definitely.
mm,
So then he feels that if I pass his examination very nicely and then I study nicely, then my mother will allow me to go to Vrindavan or something like that, take me to Vrindavan. So, something, there is an aspect, there is an inspiration. So
mm,
do everything for Krishna. Cooking, but if you cook for Krishna. So when you're cooking for Krishna, you definitely don't use onion, garlic. You like to see everything is pure. Nobody is just coming to the kitchen just like that and making the mess out of it. It's clean because it has to be offered to Krishna. You name a thing, it can be done for Krishna. A businessman can think, oh, I have to do business for Krishna because we are building a temple, so we require money for that. Somebody is doing any aspect, any work in this world can be connected with Krishna. That
okay.
is what is meaning of this verse.
Okay. So, Prabhu, thinking of somebody, being absorbed in somebody's thoughts is also very much a factor of love, how much we love that person. So, most of us have the experience, whether it is romantic love or parental love, various types of loves. When we are consumed by love, the feelings of love for this person, whatever we do, unconsciously their thoughts are coming in the mind. But, however, right now, to think of Krishna all the time, we don't feel like we have that kind of overwhelming, obsessive love for Krishna right now.
So that is called sadhana. That is called practice. Definitely, that kind of overwhelming love is not there, but some love is there. Otherwise, why at all somebody is hearing this class?
Mhm,
They have something. That is why they are hearing this class,
mhm,
this session. And somebody is reading Bhagavad Gita. There is some aspect of it that goes on increasing
mhm.
as the time goes by. That is called sadhana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Prabhu, in the next shloka, Krishna is talking about the importance of practicing this, the practice of thinking of Krishna. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya paramam purusham divyam yati parthanu chintayan. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, Arjuna, is sure to reach me. So, Prabhu, sometimes this practice gets intensified. So, let's say in the context of death, there is a death in the death of a near or dear one. Like they say, for some time that oh yeah, death can come for me also. I should be serious about spiritual life. But however, like Yaksha asking Yudhishthir Maharaj a question, what do you think is the most wonderful thing in this world? And Yudhishthir Maharaj replies this beautiful shloka, Ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti hayamalayam sheshastavaram icchanti kim ashcharyamatah param. So he's saying hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death at every moment, but a foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. What can be more wonderful thing in this world? So how can we maintain a sense of urgency in always keeping death front and center? But most of the times it will just go behind the mind, smashana vairagya, we are back to the normal. So how can we maintain a sense of urgency?
The sense of urgency is maintained uh, forcefully by thinking of death and naturally by thinking of Krishna. So initially, when we talk about death, so it's very urgent, very important, we talk about it. But that has to be transformed one day or the other into love. That is called sadhana to bhava.
Okay.
So as the time goes in Krishna consciousness, as we practice Krishna consciously, initially we chant, we practice Krishna conscious activities uh, based on the fear of death or based on certain other factors which motivates us. Over a period of time, when you practice Krishna consciousness, the motivating factor is Krishna himself. The taste in Krishna consciousness itself. Now, you see a boy, 5, 6 year old boy, he doesn't want to study. And the mother forces him to study. She would force him, sometimes even beat him. Sit and study. The same boy, when he comes to 8th standard, 9th standard, and he's studying so nicely that he studies till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. The mother would come and shout at them, stop now, stop studying now. Your health will become upset. How much you are studying? Just see. So it's a stage. Everybody passes through different stages. That is why Krishna in this verse, he has spoken both the stages. Abhyasa yoga vittena, that is sadhana. And gradually over a period of time, param purusham divyamyadi parthanu anuchintayan. Constantly it happens automatically. That is sadhana to bhava. That comes over a period of time.
Okay.
Initially, force is required.
Okay. Okay. So, Prabhu, if you can also throw some light on in the next verse where Krishna is talking about how to remember Krishna by thinking of personal aspects of Krishna. So, in the previous chapter, he's talked about how to remember Krishna in matter as the essence. I'm the taste in water, I'm the original fragrance in earth, I'm the ability in man. But now he's talking about personal aspects. So, if you can please share a little on that.
Yeah. So, thinking of Krishna is of two ways. One is thinking of his personal form, qualities, etc. Other one is thinking of his energies, both. In the previous chapter, the subject matter of thinking of Krishna by seeing the energies, that has been described. That is called Vibhuti Yoga. Started actually in the 7th chapter itself. It becomes very elaborate in the 10th chapter. But now here, Krishna is talking about the personal form. Kavim Purana Manushashidaram Manoraniyamsham Manusmaredyaha Sarvasya Dhataram Achintirupam Adityavarnam Tamasaprastat. So he's talking about his personal forms. Tamasaprastat, transcendental to this material world. Uh, Now, why talking about personal forms here in the 8th chapter? Because the thinking of the personal form of Krishna inspires love in the
Mm.
devotee. So that is why the more you are seeing the personal form of Krishna in the form of the deity,
Mhm.
the more you hear the qualities of Krishna from the Srimad Bhagavatam, then what happens? Your love for Krishna increases.
Mm.
So to the extent your love for Krishna increases, then you see anything and everything in this world that you see it in connection with Krishna. Like
Mm.
when a mother loves the baby or a boy, it so happened that the boy unexpectedly died in an accident.
Mm.
Then what happens? Because of her love for that boy, for her child, she sees anything in the house, a
Mm.
toy, which the boy used to play with, the child used to play with.
Yeah,
The toy will remind her of
the boy.
her son.
Mm.
In the same way, to the extent your love for Krishna is there, to that
Mm.
extent you see anything in this world that reminds you of Krishna because that belongs to Krishna.
Mm.
So that is why 8th chapter it talks about thinking about the personal features of Krishna.
Mm. Okay. So, Prabhu, in the next few shlokas, Krishna is drawing parallels or he's contrasting remembering him through meditation and also he's talking about remembering him through devotion. So, if you can draw some contrast between these two, remembering Krishna through meditation versus remembering Krishna through bhakti.
Yes. Hmm. Because when you talk of meditation, immediately uh, the process of Ashtanga Yoga comes into picture.
Mm.
So Krishna speaks about both the processes. Thinking of him through Ashtanga, mm, which is known as Yoga Mishra Bhakti, that bhakti which is Mishra of Yoga,
Mm.
where the devotee thinks of Krishna, but when he is thinking of Krishna, he is artificially doing it.
Mm.
He is not doing it with an attitude to serve him. So that is called Ashtanga Yoga. So what is the difference between meditation by the process of Ashtanga and the meditation, the process of bhakti? Meditation to the process of Ashtanga is unnatural, is artificial, where you try to concentrate your pranas at the end of the nose and then try to bring the concentration dhruvor madhye pranam avesha samyak. Uh, but that is artificial.
Mhm.
On the other hand, when you are practicing devotional service, and that meditation is natural and very easy.
Mm.
Mhm. That is why Krishna recommends the process, natural process of devotion. That is why he uses these words, uh, sulabha.
Mm.
Sulabha means easy.
Correct.
Mhm. By practice of devotion, meditation is easy. Now, some people may say, why is it so, in spite of this devotion being easy and natural, why they don't do it? Because of ahankara,
Mm.
because of pride, because of uh, not accepting Krishna as a person.
Mhm.
And I'll, by my own endeavor, try to conquer my senses. Because of that, there is an option given for such people. But those who are simple hearted, for them, the best, easiest, and the highest process is bhakti. That is
Mm.
what Krishna speaks in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Uh-huh.
Right. Right. And Krishna says after this, right after this Sulabha Partha taking up devotional service, Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. So after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. So Prabhu, who is a Mahatma?
So Mahatma has been described, Daivim Prakriti Mashritaha. Mahatmanastu mam Partha Daivim Prakriti Mashritaha. So Daivi Prakriti is Srimati Radharani, Lakshmi, Sita Devi. So one who takes shelter of the spiritual energy of Krishna, who is personified as a Srimati Radharani, that person is a Mahatma. Very simple. Mahatmanastu mam Partha Daivim Prakriti Mashritaha. Bhajantyaranyamanasovyatma bhutadimavayam. Krishna has clearly told. In the same way here also, napnuvanti mahatmanaha. He is also Mahatma. Why? Because Mahopaitya punarjanma dukkhalema shashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. He attained samsiddhi. He has attained the perfection of life. What is the perfection of life? The perfection of life is yoga yuktaha. Tasyam sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yoginaha. So that is the perfection of life. He is nitya yukta. And how is he yukta? He is yukta because of the mercy of the energy, internal energy of Krishna, that is Srimati Radharani, who engages us in Krishna's service, that is Radharani. And that is why we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hey Radhe, please engage me in service of Krishna. That is Nitya Yukta. And that is perfection of life. And that person who attained perfection of life is Mahatma. And for that Mahatma, getting rid of birth, death, old age is only byproduct. That is what Krishna says here. Mahopetya, punarjanma dukkhalema shashvatam napnuvanti. It doesn't have to bother about it. It's a byproduct for him. That is what is the intention of this verse.
Okay, okay. So the creator here is describing his creation, the material creation, through two adjectives. It is Dukkalayam and it is Ashashvatam. Now, many people say, these ISKCON people especially, always they say this is a place of misery, place of misery. Of course, we are not saying Krishna himself is describing it. And especially people who are so-called comfortable, have a nice family, nice job, quite well settled. They may say, why there is Sukha here also? Why you say Dukkalaya, Dukkalaya? So how do we convince these people that, yes, this is a place of misery?
We don't have to convince people this is a place of misery because they are already experiencing it and they are telling a lie when they say that they are not having any miseries. It is just the question of time. You spend some time with them, then they pour out their katha, dukkhalaya shashvata. But just for the sake of saying, oh, everything is fine, everything is comfortable, everything is nice, and you speak to them for a few minutes and then develop some friendship with them, then they'll say, no, everything is fine, but you know what it is. Then starts, the real story starts. Like you go and ask someone or you call someone and say, hello, how are you? Oh, fine, thank you. And after that, real story starts. It's the biggest lie. People tell lies. Fine, thank you. When one person asked me that, Prabhuji, how are you? I told Prabhuji, I'm not fine. Prabhuji, what happened? Then I just told him, because I heard you're not chanting Hare Krishna. How can anybody be fine without chanting Hare Krishna? I had some opportunity. I want some opportunity to speak to him. So I found this way to speak to him. So then he told us, I'm also miserable that. Then why are you asking how? It's a big lie. Fine, thank you. How are you? That's what it is.
And what about the temporariness of this world, Prabhu? Material world is in one sense eternal, right? This world is always going to be there. So we say it is real but temporary.
Experiences are temporary. When they say this world is temporary, that means our experiences are temporary. Because they are the Karmamamsa philosophers, they have proved this material world is eternal. Not only in eternal, but it is eternal even in experiences also. Like, for example, they say that the mango season has come and you're relishing the mango, and you people say it is temporary. That once the summer is over, the mangoes are over. But they say, their argument is, no, the summer is not over. It comes next summer also. Next year also summer is going to come. So now, this is their argument, that this material world is eternal. And they also say the enjoyment is also eternal. So the enjoyment has gone from one object to other object, one object to other object. So now the argument for this is, yes, what you are saying is true. But in spite of all this, the material world being eternal, and there are a lot of things to enjoy, the enjoyment goes from one object to other object. You just go on hunting one object to other object. But that doesn't rule out that your experience in this world is misery. Your experience of the happiness or so-called pleasure is temporary. Your experience is temporary. You may say that mango season has gone, is over. It comes next also. But the point is, your taste, your tongue may not be the same next summer. So like that, you can go on argument and then establish that your experience is not the same. For example, you are having nice mangoes, okay? And you are so happy having nice mangoes. But one small thing that you are experiencing at the time, that your wife has left her body. Even though you have mangoes, the lovable wife who used to serve mangoes, you will remember her. And then you will not find the same taste in the mangoes.
Interesting. Okay.
So there is one thing is enough. Even though the whole world is enjoyable for you, one thing is enough to make this world dukkhalaya. One misery is enough. One dissatisfaction is enough to spoil your entire life of enjoyment.
So it is truly.
Even though you have it, just by looking at somebody else having more enjoyment than you, that itself is enough to spoil your enjoyment.
So many people have tried in the past, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, to turn Dukkalayam into Sukhalayam, Ashashvatam into Shashvatam, but nobody has succeeded until now. So it would be really foolish on our part to just engage in futile material pursuit. Somehow, no, I will squeeze out some Sukha from this Dukkalayam.
Definitely.
So, Prabhu, now Krishna is drawing parallels between his world, the eternal spiritual world. Of course, everything is his world only, but between material and spiritual worlds. So here he's saying, Abrahma bhuvanaloka punar avartino arjuna mam upetyatu kaunteya punar janmana vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So, how do we understand this, Prabhu? The travel of the soul, higher planets, lower planets. Can the soul also go to other Brahmandas?
See, we don't have information of soul going to other Brahmandas, because information is only one Brahmanda.
Okay.
So, depending on the karma, it is like karma is only earned in this human life, that too on this earth planet only. Manushaloke karmani bandini manushaloke, 15th chapter, Krishna says this. So once you earn a lot of good karma, then you go to higher planets according to your karma.
Okay.
Experience them, and when the kshine punya mrityulokam vishanti, come back to this world. When you have done some sinful activities and got some negative karma, you go to hellish planets, then suffer for it, and again come back to this world. So this can be compared to somebody who is working very hard, and then he earned a lot of money, and then he has to go for a holiday along with his family. So he takes his family. If he has earned a lot of money, then he go to Switzerland and spend some time and come back. Once his bank balance reduces, he has to come back. The same thing. Here also, for example, you have done some very horrible crime, and or you messed up your business, you're into loans, then you have to spend some time in jail. Did something wrong, go to jail. After some time, your punishment is over. Again, you come back. Similar to what we experience in this world.
So even Brahma has to die?
Yeah, Brahma dies when his 100 years gets over. That is where the Brahmanda is again completely destroyed. Pralaya happens. That is known as Mahapralaya.
Mm.
Atyantika Pralaya. When from the mouth of Sankarshana, the fire comes and Brahma also dies.
Mm.
The Brahmanda was created when by Brahma's birth. That is Brahma's birth.
Mm.
After Diparardha, means 50 years and 50 years, 100 years, Brahma will give up his body.
Mm. So, Prabhu, the possible destinations for the soul, it could either go to higher planets, it could go to the lower planets, and it can also come back in different species, the 84 lakh species.
Yes, any soul who has performed some very sinful activities,
Mhm.
they go to the Naraka and then
Mm.
suffer for that. And then, depending on the kind of sinful activities they have done, they are put into a particular species
Mhm.
after being trained for living in that particular species.
Okay.
And then gradually they come up by death and then come to the human form of life. That is why human form of life is very
Mm.
precious.
Mhm.
If you don't take it very seriously, then once we go and get lost in the lower species, we don't know when we're going to come back again in the human form of life.
So, karma accumulation can happen only in human life, and that too only in Buloka.
Yes.
And for no other species, they're all exhausting their karma, but they're not gaining new karma.
Yes.
So we have already evolved through all the 84 lakh minus one species, everything.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay, okay. So Prabhu, next, Krishna very nicely describes the timeline, the duration of Brahma's lifetime. So in an earlier episode, right in the beginning of chapter number 4, you talked to us about how Vedic understanding of time is not linear, it is circular. So if you can talk to us also about the relativity of time, because our 100 years is not same as Brahma's 100 years. So please tell us a little bit about relativity of time.
Yeah, definitely. Every living entity lives for 100 years according to its species. For example, there are some insects. So these insects, they are born at 6 o'clock in the evening and they die by 10 o'clock in the night.
Mhm.
They live only for 4 hours. That is according to you, it is 4 hours.
Mm.
According to human, it is 4 hours. But for them, it is 100 years.
Oh. Mm.
So relativity of time and space is a subject matter of research for the modern scientists.
Mhm.
And they are doing that. And when you do proper research, you have to come to a conclusion that there is something called consciousness, something called soul, something called God. That is why these are the two areas where the modern science and modern scientists they're bewildered because Krishna is bewildering,
Mm.
and they are researching the effect of Krishna's energy in the form of time and space in this world.
Mhm.
Uh, as whenever I take some children program,
Mhm.
I always talk about just in first session, children between the age of 8 and 11, their imaginative capacities are far out.
Yeah.
So I just start the class with saying that just imagine you all have your own rockets and you're sitting on the rocket. That's very nice for them to. And I say you are going up, the rock is going high speed, and you are looking, and you go on telling what all you're looking at, and try to find where you're going to find the end of the universe. So half an hour it goes on. Everybody says, "I see the sun, I see the star, I see something red, something blue." They go on. They just speak out because
Yeah.
it's imagination. They are in the.
Mm. Mm.
Sometimes they would say, "Oh, fuel is getting over. Rocket fuel is getting over." No, I tell unlimited fuel is. Don't worry about it. Yes,
Mm.
yes, yes. We go. And then ultimately, after half an hour, they become a little bit tired of imagination. They say, "Oh, we have reached the end of the universe, and we'll come to the end." And what is there? It's very hard. Something is there. Okay, now you just imagine that you have crossed it, and tell
Oh.
me what is there. Ultimately, they all get tired. So ultimately, see, when you go to the rocket, you will reach Krishna. And Krishna is the source of everything. They're all very happy because they're not tired. So this is called space. Other is time. If you ask the scientists, when did this time start? Start. They have no idea. Who started it? What is this time? So these two areas of research, if somebody genuinely does, then they have to accept that there is God, there is soul, there is consciousness, there's a distinction in matter and spirit. They have to accept it.
What is the significance of Krishna talking about Brahma's lifetime here, Prabhu? What is he trying to convey to us in the context of death and everything?
So Krishna, he would like to say that even though you go to Brahmaloka, which has got such a huge lifespan, that is not perfection.
Yeah.
That is not a perfection of life. Perfection of life is to go back to Godhead, not to Brahmaloka. That is why he talks about the spiritual world in the further verses.
Okay. So Prabhu, now very interesting that Krishna is talking to Arjuna saying, "O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world one does or does not come back." So the significance of time when the soul is leaving. So Krishna is saying, Agnir Jyotir Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vido Janaha. Those who know the Supreme Brahman pass away from the world during the influence of the fiery god, in the light, at an auspicious moment, during the fortnight of the moon, and the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. And then opposite of this, Dhumo Ratristatha Krishnaha Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandramasam Jyotir Yogi Prapya Nivartate. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the moonless fortnight, or in the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, or who reaches the moon planet, again comes back. So please help us understand this, Prabhu, the journey of soul depending on the time of, depending on when it leaves.
So these two verses talk about the sadhaka who is practicing bhakti mishra yoga.
Okay.
So it doesn't talk about the person who is practicing pure devotional service. One who tries to go to the spiritual world by his own endeavor. So this process involves giving up your body by your own will at a particular time. Whereas a devotee is not interested in this thing.
Okay.
Because he is dependent on Krishna. Whenever Krishna comes, let him take me, but I'll think of Krishna and come back to Godhead. So these two verses are for the practitioners of yoga who want to attain Krishna by their own endeavor.
I see.
That is why this particular time is given, because a devotee is Shubha Parityagi. He is beyond auspiciousness and inauspiciousness. The time when you think of Krishna is auspicious. When you don't think of Krishna is inauspicious. Is inauspicious. So the path of devotion doesn't require these things. It is for the process for those who are attached to Yoga Mishra Bhakti or Bhakti Mishra Yoga.
Okay. Krishna is also reiterating that here. The devotees who know these two paths, O Arjuna, are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. Yes. So, Prabhu, how do we understand Bhishma Pitamaha's passing away? Because he was a great devotee. However, he also waited for Uttarayana.
So, Bhishma was waiting for Uttarayana. Uttarayana has got two meanings. One is the sun starting the northern course, that is the Shankaranti, Makara Shankaranti, 14th of January, 15th of January. These days, at that time, it was some other day. So that is called Uttarayana. The sun having its northern course. It has come down, its equator, and the sun rises from the southern like this, and then it starts its northern course like this. So another meaning of the word Uttarayana is one who entered into the womb of Uttara. Who is that person?
Oh,
Krishna.
Krishna.
So
Okay.
Bhishma was waiting for Krishna, who is Uttarayana.
Oh, beautiful.
Of course, when Uttarayana Krishna comes,
Mm-hmm.
Krishna Uttarayana comes, then all auspiciousness automatically comes. So externally, Bhishma showed, I am waiting for Uttarayana to leave my body, so that people will get fooled. But actually, it was Uttarayana. I was waiting for whom? Krishna to come. That's the thing.
Amazing, amazing. Prabhu, in Bharat Maharaj's case, you said we have to understand. Usually in Bhagavatam, extreme cases are given, and we should know what Bhagavatam is trying to teach us through that. So, in the subject matter of death, when we are discussing, one of the extreme cases is that of Ajamila. So, Krishna said, Tasmatu Sarveshu Kaleshu, think of me, Mamanusmara Yudhyacha. And here was Ajamila who had done all kinds of things. But at the end, he didn't even call out Lord Narayana, he called out his son Narayana, and Vishnu Dutas came and stopped Yamadutas from taking him and gave the second chance. So, how do we properly understand Ajamila's exceptional case?
That is the glory of the holy name.
Okay.
Glory of Krishna's name is such that if somebody chants Helayava, Sanketikanama, anyhow you chant, it will destroy all the sins. One good thing which Ajamil had never done was any Vaishnava aparadh. He has not committed any offense towards the Vaishnavas. And all the sins were destroyed. But you should know Ajamil did not go back home back to God.
Right.
He actually went to Haridwar and then worshipped Sankarshana and attained perfection after having darshan of Sankarshana.
Okay.
Here, he was chanting the name Narayana. That led to him hearing Narayana Katha, Nama Mahima. When the discussion was going on between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas, he was hearing them. So that is why when you chant the names of Krishna, you become qualified to hear the explanation of Krishna's name. First is mantra, other is mantrartha. Like Valmiki, when he met Narada for the first time, at that time, Narada told, chant Ram's name. So Valmiki started chanting the name of Ram. And the same Narada came and explained the mantra artha. Mantra, the name of Krishna itself is mantra, name of Ram itself is mantra. And that is Ramayana. So in this way, Ajamil, in few minutes only, he could get the opportunity of hearing Krishna Katha. So that made him fixed up in devotion. Tesham dvandagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha vinirmukta bhajante. Then Ajamil did bhajan and he attained perfection.
Beautiful. So, Prabhu, we have discussed a lot about the significance of death, the consciousness at the time of death, how to prepare for our own death, moment to moment to moment. But how do we deal with the death of near and dear ones, which is more painful?
See, near and dear is because of your attachment to that person. Sometimes, so person who is very near to you, and you may not have love and affection for that person, even if he dies, doesn't matter. So it is all depending on your consciousness. That is why if you develop love for Krishna, then you will not be disturbed by anything in this world. See, love can only be to one person. You cannot have love for many persons. You can have love to one person, that is Krishna, and through Krishna, you can have love to others. So, if you have attained that stage of loving Krishna and you see everybody in that particular way, definitely, like for example, somebody's spiritual master gives the body. At that time, the devotees experience the viraha. Oh, it is because of him we could practice Krishna consciousness nicely, and now he's not there. What is going to happen to us? So definitely, if your near and dear ones are Vaishnavas, you can feel the separation, and that separation will increase your devotion. But if your near and dear ones are not, so-called near and dear ones were not devotees, then that will drag you down. Even in that sense also, if you are so strong and established, fixed up in devotion, your near one who is not a devotee has left, you can still lament, saying that, oh, she has lost the opportunity of chanting the name of Krishna. So you can lament like that. So lamentation also can help you in Krishna consciousness, provided it is seen from the point of view of scriptures.
So this is what Krishna told Arjuna, right, in second chapter 2.13. Dhiras tatra namohyati, be a dhira, and titikshasva, tolerate. Okay. And Prabhu, last question on this topic is why do we celebrate the disappearance of Vaishnava Acharyas just as much as we celebrate their appearance?
Because they have gone back to the spiritual world with Krishna. That is a celebration. That is why we celebrate.
Okay.
They have conquered the most. How long they'll be away from Krishna? Of course, they are never away from Krishna. So we celebrate their disappearance because they have shown to the world not only how to live, but also they have shown to the world how to live.
Right.
That is why we celebrate their disappearance days.
Yes. Thank you very much, Prabhu. So Prabhu will switch now to Brahmastra. So from the time this episode is going to get published, just in a couple of days, the holy month of Kartik is just around the corner. So based on that, today's Brahmastra will be based on the theme of Kartik, Damodara Leela, Damodara Ashtakam and all that. So if you're ready, can I start with Brahmastra, Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay. So first question, do you take any special spiritual vows or commitments during the holy month of Kartik?
Consciously, no, but unconsciously it happens because because of so many programs. It increases. Many people have a lot of demands on do classes, so it happens unconsciously by default.
Okay. So second question, in your opinion, what does the act of offering ghee lamps to Damodara during Kartik signify? What does that symbolize?
I never thought about it, but I speak a lot about it because when teachers they approach schools and other places, they say, lamp signifies knowledge and that, and speak about it. But it is a recommended process in the Padma Purana, also in Haribhakti Vilas. So that is why we just do it for the pleasure of Krishna. Whatever we do it for the pleasure of Krishna.
Okay.
There may be many subsidiary benefits of it, but the main benefit is we follow scriptures for the pleasure of Krishna.
Okay. So let's say we are putting up a drama on Damodara Leela and you are presented with an opportunity to pick any character that you want to play in Damodara Leela. So which character would you choose?
Oh, Balram.
Balram. Okay.
Because he comes at the end. He comes at the end and then becomes very angry. Who bound Krishna like this? Because he gets the news, somebody has bound Krishna. Okay, because very angry, as if he's going to destroy, kill that person. Somebody says, Yashoda. Then Balram becomes peaceful and like a cat, he goes away.
Wonderful, very nice. So, would you rather help Krishna in stealing the butter and escaping from his mother, or would you help Mother Yashoda in catching Krishna and binding him up? Who will you help? You're on Team Krishna or Team Mother Yashoda?
Team Yashoda.
Oh, what is this?
Because Yashoda could bind Krishna only because when the small little girl came and gave the ribbon and then told, you bind, try with this. And Yashoda took this ribbon and then Krishna got bound.
Oh.
So as a Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are on the party of Srimati Radharani. That small little girl is Radharani. So we are on the Radharani took the party of Yashoda. So we also are in our party. That's the thing.
Wow, such deep philosophical. Okay. I didn't know about Radharani coming and giving this ribbon to Mother Yashoda. Okay, okay,
Yes, yes.
okay. Oh, very nice, very nice. Okay. Vrindavan during Kartik or Mayapur during Gaur Purnima?
Ah, very difficult to say, but these days I don't have the opportunity to neither go to Kartik for nor go to Vrindavan during Kartik, nor go to Gaur Purnima,
Mayapur.
not go to Mayapur during Gaur Purnima.
Uh-huh.
Wherever I get an opportunity to speak about Krishna, that I'll try to make sure that that place becomes Vrindavan, that place becomes Navdeep.
Glorious. Jai. What can we learn as practicing devotees from the playful nature of Krishna? Because we tend to become serious sometimes.
We learn that Krishna is a person.
Mm-hmm.
He's a person whom you can talk to, whom you can play with, you can dance with. The word God makes you think he's
Yes.
great. And greatness of God is not a disqualification for him being a person.
Mm-hmm.
So this playful nature of Krishna that
Mm-hmm.
makes us understand or realize and experience that he is a person as much as
Mm-hmm.
you're a person.
Mm-hmm.
As much you have desires, he also desires. As much as you have a desire to have a friend, he also has a desire to have a friend. As much as you have a desire to dance, and he also has a desire to dance and play.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
impersonalism will go away,
Okay.
and the personal aspect will manifest in your heart.
Okay. Okay. Nice. What is your favorite line or verse from Damodar Ashtakam that resonates with you the most of the 8 shlokas?
Shriraditayai Tadyapriyayai Namo Anantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam.
Hmm. Okay. In connection to that, although the Damodara Leela happened between Mother Yashoda and Krishna, we don't say Yashoda Krishna. We don't say Yashoda Damodar. We say Radha Damodar. Why?
We should never say Yashoda Damodar because
Mm-hmm.
that is Rasabhas.
Mm-hmm.
We can say Yashoda and Damodar, but it is not Yashoda Damodar. That is Rasabhas. Because Damodar name Krishna got because of Madhurya. It is a
Mm.
pastime Madhurya where Radharani has bound Krishna.
Oh,
So that is why we say Radha Damodar.
okay.
Radha Damodaro Chaitri. We don't have any deity of Yashoda Damodar. A
Mm.
deity of Radha Damodar.
Mm.
So you can say Yashoda and Damodara. Because without Madhurya Rasa, none of the other rasas will reach its perfection.
Mm.
Mother Yashoda
Mhm.
would, who can be a better cook for a baby or a child than the mother?
Mm.
Yashoda is a very good cook. Why she still want Radharani to come?
Mm.
Because Vatsalya reaches its perfection when there is an aspect of Madhurya.
Mm.
Even Sakhya Rasa reaches its perfection only when there is an aspect of Madhurya.
Mm.
The same way all the rasas.
Mm. Very nice. So, Prabhu, did you also say there is a pastime where Radharani also bound Krishna?
Yes, there is a
Okay,
pastime.
okay, okay, okay. So, what would you say is the most humorous moment in Damodar Leela?
The humorous moment in Damodar Lila is Yashoda trying to bind Krishna. That is humorous.
Yes.
That is humorous.
Okay. So what is your favorite memory associated with Celebrate Kartik until now?
I cannot think of any favorite memory.
Okay, okay.
I'm getting old and then my memory is getting depleted.
Okay, Prabhu, no problem. So, last question. So, what advice or encouragement would you give to a newcomer who wants to observe Kartik for the very first time?
Oh, wherever Damodarashtakam programs happen, just go there. You
Mhm.
don't have to cook at least. Uh, you can get prasadam.
Yeah.
And, so that's what the many devotees who became devotees initially
Uh-huh.
they experienced.
Mm-hmm.
That they get invitations. So why don't you come here? Oh, come there. Every day there is prasadam.
Mm.
Nice. Have a nice time during Kartik.
Very nice, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, thank you so very much. Every sentence that comes out of your mouth, I treasure it. And I think same way, Pariprashna, many of them are getting addicted to it. Many are saying that they can't wait for Tuesday to come. So they are just devouring the episodes and contemplating on them. So thank you for such wonderful nourishment for our soul and unraveling the mystery surrounding this very interesting topic called death. So thank you very much, Prabhu. So I'll just wrap up there. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. There we go. So, today we have talked about Prayana Kala, the travel of soul. It's been a long, winding travel and many heartbreaks and many sufferings. So, it's about time that we end this travel and help the soul get to its ultimate destination. So, let's end this journey of the soul. But, however, please continue the journey of Pariprashna with us. Don't stop it. So, I hope you're continuing to relish these episodes. So, please come back for the next episode because in the next episode, Krishna is going to share with us the most confidential secret. So you definitely don't want to miss out on the secret. So please do join us. So until then, stay inquisitive and stay Krishna conscious. Thank you. Hare Krishna.